Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a July 27th edition of the MSP Initiative, MSP Talk. Wow, we're almost into August, like in 4 days. Just absolutely crazy. We're going to do some housekeeping like we do at the beginning of all of these sessions, and then we're going to get into the good stuff. So buckle up and hang on. MSPinitiative.com. Here you will find everything that we do at this particular organization. This session is being recorded and it will be posted here under sessions in podcast and video format. Feel free to go back and listen to me and Cynthia banter. We have an event coming up in Denver, August 14th to 15th. So it's only a couple of weeks away in Denver. It's called MSP Community Minds. We're very excited for this one. We have many MSPs and experts from around the industry, either talking to us in panel or workshop format. Our goal for this event is after we parked the tour bus after 3 years of Channel Strong, we wanted to create something to give back to you, the community. And this is the best learning event format that we could come up with. And so, by the way, it's absolutely 100% free for you to register and attend. Yep, you still have to make it to Denver, but we're not charging you $3.99 for the early bird special. So totally up to you. We hope that you join us. We feel it's going to be fantastic. That being said, we have our 3 remaining block parties for the year. If you didn't catch us earlier, we were gallivanting around Europe. Had to think about that word for a second. But now we have Florida, and more Florida. So if you I guess these aren't for you. But we are working with the Taylor Business Group alongside the Big conference. Definitely go check it out. Taylor Business Group Big 2023. It's a very MSP-centric show. Taylor Business Group are peer and accountability groups. But that doesn't mean that if you're an MSP in the Florida area and want to jump on a 5-story mega yacht down the Intercoastal in Fort Lauderdale, you are more than welcome to join us. Once again, absolutely free. This will be on August 23rd. Check it out if you are in the area or going to this event. Then we have DattoCon Miami. We're headed down to Florida. Join us. And if you're not doing that one, or you're going into Orlando, where we brought the All-American Rejects last year, and we are about to announce our entertainment for the evening. And I promise it is a radio recognizable band that you will definitely know their tunes. So stay tuned for that. That being said, we have some community offers. Hey, Cynthia, if you want to put some community offers, shoot it over. So these are hookups.
Oh, let's do that. I'm going to Slack the right person now.
And then we have our industry calendar, which is really just our homework for the year. If we're missing anything, feel free to submit it. But effectively, we just want you to have a place where you can see what's going on in the industry. It's not even MSP Initiative specific. That being said, that is all of the housekeeping. So if you're curious on what we do, it's all in one place. Once you learn how to spell the word initiative, you're gold. MSPinitiative.com. For the event in Denver, MSPcommunityminds.com. They're all the cool, easy to type URLs. There it is. So, Cynthia, welcome back to the show. It has been a little while, but we love to talk to you.
Do you, George, or do I drive you crazy?
we love driving you crazy, Cynthia. So for people who don't know who you are, do a quick intro, and then we'll get into good stuff.
Awesome. So I am Cynthia Schreiner. I'm Director of Community and Events here at Cyberqp. So basically, I take care of all the fun stuff. If you follow me on LinkedIn, it says Director of Fun because that is what I do. So basically just life a little bit out on the road, taking care of all of our conferences here at Cyberqp. Cyberqp. Apparently, pew, 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 Cyberqp.
Awesome.
Yes,
awesome,
that is
awesome,
what I do. And then
I've known Cynthia for a long time. She has been around the MSP sandbox doing her thing, and cool story, but also not fresh off the boat. So she knows what's happening, which is great, because then she likes to do what Cynthia does, the fun stuff. Yeah. So let's rewind. We had Jimmy on not too long ago. This was before your event in Dallas. Let's hear all about it. How'd it go?
Oh my gosh, it went really, really, really well. So it was all focused on CIS controls and how to implement them into your business, and not just hey, we're going to have people on stage talking about big, scary things. And there's, this huge list of controls that you should be implementing. We actually like dug in really deep on a couple of them, put people in small groups where they got to workshop and really figure out what changes they had to make to implement those controls. So just really, really, really valuable time. We're looking forward to building on that. So definitely more to come with the Fantastic Forum Academies.
So I hear that there's going to be this event next year. Do you have the dates?
I do not have any details yet,
Okay.
but look for a Q1 date is what it looks like.
Okay. So sounds like there's a announcement coming somewhere in the works. Keep your, if you haven't looked at anything Q1, which to be honest, I don't think anyone's looked at Q1 if they're not in the event planning business.
I was about to say, I certainly have. I keep asking myself, what year is it?
Yes, it is 2023. Next year is 2024. Everybody forgets that because that 2-year, everybody was at home thing. But yeah, I digress. So this is an interesting part of the year where like once I usually thought it was September, October, November was like machine gun trade show season, like every day, every week. Yeah, August now, right? Like all of a sudden it like creeped up a month.
So Cyberqp will be at 10 industry shows in August. Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot of industry shows.
It's a lot. It's a whole lot. There's a lot of peer groups meeting. This seems to be the month in Q3 where peer groups are gathering, right? So we've got 1, 2. Yeah, I've got at least 4 different like peer groups / franchise. Like this is when they're meeting. On top of, Exchange, which is a pretty big show. We've got ChannelCon CompTIA next week. So yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I can only, who handles your airline bill?
I mean, me, I guess technically.
Does everybody at Cyberqp have airline status by this point? I feel like
I know, right?
Yeah, Alec on my side. He's Mr. Delta.
He is Mr. Delta.
When he doesn't fly first class, he gets salty. And I'm like, hold on a second, pal. Number one, we're not paying for first class flights here. So if you get upgraded, good for you. But like, that shouldn't be the expectation. I sit in the bathroom row. I have no problem with that.
Right. I'm like back with the goats.
It's actually probably, I remember the night before I was getting on a plane, I watched the movie Flight with Denzel Washington. The one where like the plane goes upside down and they land it.
Yeah. Doesn't feel like a great time.
Yeah.
Hold on. So do you have like one of those like savior complexes where you're like, if that happens, I'm going to be the one. I'm going to help out the guy.
If that happens, I hope I don't fall out of my chair and break my head. But okay, that being said, I'm watching a new series now on Apple TV with Idris Elba called
Yes, I told my husband we should watch that. And he was like, babe, you're on a plane like 2 or 3 times a month. I don't think I want to watch it.
Yeah. So like, I thought about this, but I was like, it's so good. So I don't know if you do or you don't, but you should check it out. I thought it was, there's one more actually episode left. I got to think it's like a mini. How often do you keep hijacking planes, right? You can't make it a series, but
probably a one and done series.
Yeah, but it's pretty,
do a lot more with that mini series format, which is sort of interesting too, right? I think ideas that would have been a movie 5-10 years ago, now they're like, or we could do it in this mini series format and actually like develop the characters a lot more and tell a more compelling story instead of like a boom, 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 snakes on a plane, boom, 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 right? Like
I also watch Snakes on a Plane.
I will not watch Snakes on a Plane. Not happening. If there is a snake on a plane, I am not the hero. I'm dead. I'm gone. Like I can't.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like they get these effing snakes off the plane. That whole sentence. I feel like it was like not contiguous as part of the movie. I feel like they sliced it in.
Samuel Jackson was like, I'm going to say this.
Like they just brought him in to say that one line, it felt like.
Okay, now speaking of Samuel Jackson, did you watch Secret Invasion and did you like watch the finale last night?
I did. I saw it. And Nick Fury's back, that's for sure. He is definitely going to be middle of it. And like the Marvels clearly comes right behind this. They set it up. Kind of interesting that they would like, why would you, I don't want to break the, spoiler alert. If
Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Okay, did I say it enough times?
Don't be mad at us now, because now we've told you. If you do not watch Secret Invasion,
Please
stop.
mute the next 2 minutes.
Yeah. You basically took all the superhero powers and put them into one person.
Right.
How does that work moving forward? How is this person beatable?
Right. Well, but didn't he die? Oh, her though. You're talking about her. Yeah, her. Well, at least her heart's in the right place. But I don't know that that lady in red.
Yeah, the UK lady.
Yeah. I know. My daughter was like, I don't like her. She took off that guy's finger. I don't trust her. And I'm like, I don't know. She's growing on me.
Yeah. So I liked it. I felt like it was definitely supposed to open doors for what comes next.
Yeah.
I'm a Nick Fury fan. I really like his storyline. I always did. I felt like he kind of disappeared in the last 3 or 4 years, right? He wasn't in anything. So now that he's kind of back into the fold, I feel like, okay, I feel like it's a little bit late, but let's see where it goes.
Yeah. And his love story I thought was very compelling and interesting.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. So Marvel does what Marvel does, right? They try and they're using all the Disney Plus series, to set up the movies. It'll be interesting to see how this next one comes out, right? Because it kind of been slowing down on movies coming out of Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Since we're on the movie track, I can't help but go there.
Let's do it.
I'm never gonna go see Barbie. I'm sorry.
You're not. Okay. I will have to say it was amazing. My best friend actually just took the bar over the last 2 days and finally is coming up for air. And so we're going to see it again tonight because she's just dying to see it. And I was excited to see it again. I thought it was.
So you saw it enough for the both of us.
I thought it was very well done. I thought it was surprising. It opened up some really great conversations between my daughter and I. Yeah, I just thought it was really, really, I don't want to say eye-opening, but it was just a lot of things that I feel on a day-to-day basis, especially as a mom. There was a lot there. A friend that I saw it with was like, they made it for us. It was for the moms. It was really well done. Really, really well done.
I will go, however, see the other movie, Oppenheimer.
We are scheduled to see that August 5th when I get back from Vegas. I already bought the ticket.
I am a Christopher Nolan fan.
Love him.
So I don't think he's put out a bad film, at least one that I've seen.
No.
They do get long, right? 3 hours plus does definitely rack up. I definitely love the Christian Bale Batman series. I thought that was the best 3 Batmans that they've ever put together. I'm looking forward to it.
Batman. But he was the best Batman for sure.
He was Michael Keaton was the best Batman.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't watch The Flash?
No, I didn't watch that.
Yeah, where they brought him back.
Oh, no, I didn't watch that one.
Yeah. They brought him back as Batman 20, 30 years later.
Yeah. I think I remember seeing the trailer for it or whatever, but
yeah.
Nope.
So okay, now we know where you stand on the movie spectrum.
That's my Batman. I do think you should go see Barbie. I'd like to have a long conversation about it.
Can I wait until it comes out of the theater? Is that okay with you?
You can. Yes, okay. That's fine. Although I'd love to see you dressed up in pink and ready to see it, but we can move on.
I don't think that's my color.
Got daughters, George. You've got daughters.
I have a daughter too, but still not the pink. And Matt, I already get stopped enough in security. If I went through security in pink, Cynthia, could you imagine?
Maybe it would help. Maybe they would think that more sunshiny disposition.
Okay. Let's move on let's move on past this one. So tell us what, this is the second round of, fast growing startup for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Has this been different than your days at Lion Guard, right? Or is it, hey, I crushed it on the other side. I just took my blueprint and I brought it to the next champion.
No, so different in that at Lion Guard, I was there earlier, right? So, Cyberqp already had, a good base of customers. Whereas when I started at Lion Guard, we had 10. So that's a little bit different. So where I had a little bit more time for ramp up there, I didn't here. It was very much great, come in, Q4 2023, or no,
I think I
2022
remember that. I think I remember your first show as
was,
QP.
yep, was big,
Yeah.
big. Yep. And it was like my first week. So it was very like hit the ground running, whereas I had a little bit more ramp up at Lion Guard. Same blueprint. I mean, they did hand me a jungle cat, so I knew what to do with that, right? So I was like, oh, good. I'm glad that like this stuffed cheetah stands instead of lays, right? Like just silly little things. But I mean, yeah, there are things that work. But no, you got to do it different. It's a different product, right? So you got to think about it differently and see what's going to. I don't like to just throw swag out there just to throw it out there, right? Like I want to be able to like make a connection with, the little tagline on it and
Are
all
you
of that.
sure? Because I remember that first event. I think your comment was, "Why are the greens not all the same color?"
Well, that was, before I got there and could be obsessive, and it's fine. The greens were not all the same color because you're working on the fly. And sometimes you have to stop in the middle of Milwaukee and get a tablecloth made. And they don't have the right green. And it's totally fine. It's completely fine. So yeah. So yes, a little bit the same, and yes, a little bit different. You build systems and then find out that it doesn't work. You need to tweak it because the organization is just a bit different, right? RevOps has a bigger hand in something, or it's just got to make some changes. And then we've done a lot of evolving too, just in how we book demos and how we track things, and tying it back to Salesforce and trying out some other things that you'll see us trying out at the booth pretty soon. So yeah.
Cool. Well, it's always interesting to get a little bit of a eye view of how this works, right? Like, it is still a relatively small sandbox. I mean,
Yeah.
like, like it's not enterprise space where you could literally move jobs your entire career and not run into the same people again. It's way different in MSP land. So, it's just always curious to see, not every company starts the same way, has the same funding, their product doesn't, maybe attract people in the same way, right? Like there's always something different.
Different price point, different integrations. Yeah.
Yeah. It just, it's just taking things from a way different angle sometimes.
Yes.
So I'm glad to hear that the green is probably now all synchronized. I'm
The
sure
green
you got it there.
Is synchronized. Yes. And then I was like, oh no, it's too synchronized. We need to throw in a different type of tablecloth. Like, my brain is always working in overtime, but that's okay.
So, I'm curious to see, like, last we talked was probably in 2022 on this, podcast. And we made some predictions, right? Like, we're like, hey, like, we're worried about 2023. We were worried about the back end of 2023. We were worried about people maybe getting evented out. We were worried about maybe people being worried about money spend and maybe conserving on the back end of the year. We talked about, the markets and like, how does that affect the decision making inside the sandbox? Now we're 8 months plus later. What do you think? Does the picture look the same, or did we guess right? Did we guess wrong?
I think it's not as grim as we thought it might be.
Okay.
What do you think? I tend to take a more optimistic view than you. So
no, I mean, the doomsday fallout that we thought was coming hasn't happened yet. I mean, so if it is going to happen, maybe
I would feel more surprised.
Yeah, no, I like that it's, been a little bit more tempered than we originally heard from a lot of people, right? Or, at least maybe our timing's off, but right so far it looks manageable. I don't think the event fatigue part is wrong. I think there's a lot of events now. And like, I think that
events,
rinse and repeat isn't necessarily working on that either, right? Like for a company that sends their people to a lot of events, like just being in a place now isn't good enough.
No, you can't just show up. You have to be very thoughtful about how you show up, and you've got to make sure that you have really meaningful connections while you're there.
Yeah. So I think I think moving forward, we'll start to see like the natural kind of, the strong will survive and the creative will survive, and some of the rinse and repeat stuff might just go away just because it won't be as well attended. That being said, I think people are buying still.
Yeah,
I do. I see a lot of
I do
credit
too.
cards out. I see a lot of people going down the aisle swiping still. I thought that would have slowed down actually at this part in the timeline.
Yeah. I think anything around security, right? Because we see it coming with compliance, we see it coming with government regulations. Like we know the writing's kind of on the wall, right? So how do you get your ducks in a row now? And I think too, when it comes to security, one of the things that I love about Cyberqp is that we're not just that we're MSP focused, it's that we believe MSPs are the hero in the story and that it's not us. A lot of times you see with, security companies and it's all about how great they are. And like, no, it's about what MSPs are actually doing out in the real world and how they are keeping their people safe. And we just get to be part of that story. And I just find that so compelling and so amazing that we get to be part of something so important.
It's a good point. I mean, do you think that there's a scenario where there are too many tools for the MSP?
I mean, I
Like,
think tool fatigue is huge, right? At every seventh MSP I talk to is like, we're reevaluating our stack. We're trying to make sure. And here's the other part it's tough, right? You buy a tool for a certain reason because you're trying to solve a problem. And then you buy another tool for a certain reason because you're trying to solve a problem. And then you have all of these tools and you don't realize that tool A can now do what tool E was supposed to do for you, because it's hard to even keep up with all the growth within the tools that you're using, right? So you can only attend so many webinars and read so many newsletters, right? So then that becomes on us too, right? How do we continue to educate everyone that is using our product or considering using our product, like what we've come out with, right? And like what problems we're now solving or what tweaks that we're making to, ensure that they're going to stay compliant in the next wave of, whatever insurance wants. So yeah, I think that's it's tough. All of a sudden you have all of these tools that were meant to solve all of these problems when like maybe now 4 tools would actually solve the problem. And now you also have new problems.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely a moving target. And you can't use the same thing forever. At some point, there's going to be a change. I think part of that reasoning that you just put out there is why people are, for many other, there's not just this is the only reason, but one of the reasons why I think MSPs are a little bit concerned with signing the 3, 4, 5, 6 year contract, whatever it ends up being, is that they're constantly looking for the best next, kind of solver of things. And like that could change, right? Like I feel if they're locked into something for, a prolonged period of time, that limits their spending power to be able to shift around, right?
No, I think you're absolutely right. And the needs of your business change, right? You may end up with 100 employees in 5 years, or you might find out that you've automated enough that you only need 5. But if you're locked into something for too long, then it's hard to be agile. So yeah, I definitely.
Yeah. I think that's kind of part of at least one part of the special sauce of MSP community is like the ability to pivot, right? Like
Yes.
that visibility to say, I see the next wave of whatever change is coming, and being able to be ahead of that curve rather than waiting for the wave to hit you.
Yep. And then there's the wave of IT and the channel and all of that. But then you've got the waves of your little bubble where you're doing all of this in, right? When you're in the middle of Spokane, Washington, like what does Spokane, Washington need? And all of a sudden, 12 new car dealerships opened up and you're like, maybe I could get into this vertical, but that vertical might require that you need something completely different in your stack than you needed before, and might mean that you don't need something else. Like, yeah, again, that ability to be agile in a couple of different ways.
Yeah, 100. It's really good point. And then that's why we hear, I hopefully not as much these days, but you still hear the people who are like, yeah, I can't, my market, my area won't let me charge that price point.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would hope with all the security focused stuff that price point has definitely gone up even a little bit, right? Like can't give it away. But, I've heard people in the, hey, I'm not to quote the people out there, they're like, oh, you can charge whatever you want per user, 1,000, 1,500, 2,500. No, stop listening to that. Okay. But like, I would say the average price point, if you're charging on a per user, I've seen it crack 200 now.
Yeah.
Like high hundreds, low 200s, and like start to creep up as the standard.
Yeah. I actually had an MSP I was talking with in the last 6 months was just like, so how's business been? Like, what's been going on? And he, was spouting off some really impressive revenue numbers. And I'm like, well, what did you do? Like, how did you bring in new business? And it was all existing business, but it was increasing that per seat price. And it was based on the cybersecurity needs and saying that, like, educating them on why they needed it and, drawing a line in the sand of what they were going to be willing to offer or not offer.
So
Doesn't
was it
always
just,
work.
well, that's what I was gonna say. Like price creep definitely, can bite you if not managed properly, right? Like
Right.
age old, hey, I just put an escalator in the contract. Every year it goes up by X%. And then a lot of people just like to work within that, that window, right? And then I think security was one of those times where if you hadn't gone back and really touched your contracts in 3, 4, 5 years, this is one of those points where it's like, I have to go in and there's going to be a noticeable increase.
Yeah. If you haven't been having those small increases along the way.
Yeah.
And then it's just educating consumers of your IT stack of why this is all important and why they can't manage you if you don't have these things, because it's a huge liability for MSPs if they don't have all of those safeguards in place.
Yeah, I mean, MSP risk definitely seems to be a very open and wide category of conversation, right?
Yeah.
I feel like unfairly sometimes, even so, right? Like, I think the burden of all of this conversation definitely should be split. I don't know what the percentage split should be, but like the end customer has to hold some of that as well. And I feel like the perception of the end customer always is, well, if it broke, it's your problem. You told me you had this under control. And it's like, yeah, your person between the keyboard and the chair went and clicked on something they shouldn't have clicked on. Well, you said I had all this protection. And it's like, yeah, like I could have all the protection in the world. Like training still needs to happen, right?
Right.
If you commit to actually doing that.
And the people putting the phishing out there are getting smarter and smarter. Like, I've been close before, and then I'm like, well, hold on. I'm very busy right now and I'm distracted. And I need to look at this a little bit closer because that actually doesn't look right. Or like I got a Windows notification the other day in my email that was like, that looks blurry. And I'm like looking at it on my phone. So it'd be very easy. And I was at an event. So it'd be very easy for my brain to go, oh, it's just because I'm looking at it on my phone, which is what they're expecting completely. But I actually paused and it was like, no, this doesn't look right. I told my IT guys, and I got patted on the back.
I've been around a few people recently that were like, oh my God, I did it. I put my credit card in a fake, like the light bulb went off after they did it. And they're like, I need to go cancel my card. And I was like, at least like the light bulb finally did go off and you didn't wait for the bad thing to happen.
Right. And you didn't wait until like they used that breach to like get even further in and get their claws in. But yeah, we're busy and we're staring at tech all the time, and it's really easy for human error to happen. So yeah, it's interesting. Like, where does that burden lie, right? If you've provided the training, if you have had them sign things, all of that, like there does have to be some burden back on the end users.
Has to be. And I think that's risk mitigation. I think that's the right way to say it. Right?
Yeah,
like I think the MSP has to constantly be able to take themselves out of the middle of the bullseye, or else it will land in their lap.
Yeah. And then how do they do that? That's tough.
They get taken to court. That's what's going to happen, right? Somebody's going to sue somebody and the MSP is going to be in the middle of it, or even if you find a way to keep yourself out of court, you're going to end up losing that business anyway.
Right.
I think that's the reality, right? And so
what is the precedent going to be?
Back to your Spokane, Washington example, it's like nobody wants to be in the newspaper or the headline or the middle of the chirping of, oh, they got hit, and then it's your company name, right?
Yeah, it's so scary. Which is,
I mean, so yeah, that was it's actually one of the things that popped up. One of the panels we're doing at Community Minds in Denver is the human side of cybersecurity, because like it is scary. not just for, like, think about the person who fields the call from the end customer at your technology firm, where they're like, all I see are the skull and crossbones, and like they're asking for Bitcoin. Like, that's a scary phone call.
Yes. And then what is your escalation process in that moment, right? Like
Call
how
everybody,
how
help,
are you
fire.
right? For your poor like level one help desk, like what are they supposed to do, right? So making sure too that MSPs are running that real life scenario. If this happens, here's the next line of things that must happen.
Yeah. So, press the alarm button. There's like a red button on everybody's desk.
Oh my God. I love it.
Because I mean, it's not that far off from the truth, though. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You got a small window before everybody's computer has the skull and the crossbones.
Very, very small window. So yeah, how do you make sure that that's escalated appropriately and quickly so that like least damage, the damage control.
Yeah. Well, there's not just that. There's the owner to owner conversation, right? Or executive to executive conversation. It's like, hey, this is going to be a problem. You're gonna have some pain here.
And then the poor person that like made the mistake that caused every, the dominoes to fall. Like, I feel really bad for that person. Is someone checking in on their mental health and making sure they're okay? Like, it's a lot. It's very stressful.
Wow. Everybody points a finger at everybody else in that situation. I remember back in my MSP, focus days, we were supporting a municipality. They had the tablets in all the cop cars, the ones that they write George all the tickets from. And
really, I haven't found that they write tickets from those tablets, George. That's interesting.
Oh, they do now. They do now.
They never write them to me.
You know what they do? Now they print them.
Oh, right. Okay.
This is the thing now, right? Because the handwriting was so bad, they wanted to like erase that from the agenda. So now they have like a little printer, and by the way, the printer breaks all the time, just to let you know. But they have a little printer like underneath of the armrest, and then they print out like an 8.5 and 11 page.
Interesting. Yeah, this hasn't been my experience.
Yeah, in Pennsylvania, it's a thing. So then they come back to you. They're like, "Here's your piece of paper," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Usually they just talk to me and then let me go.
Yeah, I think that's because you look a lot nicer than I do.
Joking. I haven't been, knock on wood, I've not been pulled over in Florida, so I don't even know what would happen.
I know what happens when I get pulled over. So anyway, no more triple carbon paper, right? But anyway, so like one of those tablets got ransomware on it, but like it was just contained to the computer in the car, right? Like, pull out the hard drive, put another one in, reinstall Windows, and have a nice day, right? But like, the question was, well, how did that happen? And I was like, well, I know how it happened. This guy was in this car at this time, and he clicked on something, and this is how it, and like, that's it. They're like, that's not happened. That didn't happen. And I'm like, oh, it happened. And they're like, no. And it's like, everybody's trying to protect their own. And it's like, guys, this is a really simple conversation. Like, I'm not in your politics or your internal building, minutia, right? Like our job is to keep your stuff working. So-and-so clicked on something they shouldn't have, and we repaired it. And they're like, that didn't happen. We disagree. And I'm like,
well, I guess because they're not supposed to be on
I was like,
applications.
These are the people that are supposed to be writing tickets and arresting people. Oh, fantastic. And like, not trying to knock law enforcement out there, but it's like, guys, like, you're human beings. You clicked on the wrong thing. It happens.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to point fingers at anyone. I just want to fix stuff and move on. But like, being able to and my point at the time was that system was decentralized, right? Like, so the only thing that could get affected was one guy's car, right? Rather than the entire police system, thankfully. And,
but there's probably personal information on that one tablet because you've had to enter.
Who knows what? I mean, who knows what
driver's license numbers and.
You would think that that's all part of the more centralized system, right? Like you got to like log in and type that in, but like, like you really shouldn't be saving any information to the actual computer in the car, right? Just like in a more formal work environment, before hybrid working came out, like when you save stuff, it's saved to the server, right? It didn't save to like the computer itself kind of thing. similar concept, but like, what else were you not supposed to be doing on that machine that you were doing?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
And it was
just
probably
use-
like downloading movies while you were on an overnight, lookout or something, like something completely innocent. But yeah.
or can't tell you how many times somebody was sitting at a Wawa. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, dude, crime happens outside the Wawa. Last time I checked, but it's all good. I love Wawa though. I
You
know
and
you
your
haven't
Wawa.
down there.
Yes, we do. And
especially
we've come to really appreciate a Wawa. We have done a lot of like post baseball tournament, late lunch, early dinners through the Wawa app. The kids like the quesadillas. So yeah, we've come to love a
I think Alec was saved by a gobbler bowl or two after IT Nation.
It's still not Buc-ee's though, which I did have the pleasure of taking some people to Buc-ee's last
Okay,
week.
how was it?
It was really great. But being that every time I've ever stopped at a Buc-ee's, it is because we are on a long car ride and we're stopping and grabbing food and eating it. It never really computed the fact that there's there's no place to sit in Buc-ee's to eat. So we went in there, we all got our sandwiches and our big gulp drinks and, cobblers and banana puddings and all of that. And I checked out and then I was like, all right, cool. So we're going to go stand over here on this, by this pile of deer corn. And we're just going to set up shop. And like we stood out front of Buc-ee's in the 100-degree heat, luckily in the shade, with like our barbecue, sitting on top of a stack of deer corn next to the deer feeders, which I then explained to some people that didn't quite understand what the deer feeders were for. So it was a whole cultural experience.
I was like, shouldn't it be alligator feeders?
Oh, no. This was in Texas. I was in Dallas. Yeah.
There it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Texas has deer.
Yes, they do. And I'm sure, are you familiar with the deer feeder concept and all of that?
I'll be honest, I'm not. I never
I'll enlighten
was
you.
that intrigued, but go ahead. Tell me.
Okay. You're like, I'm not that intrigued. Okay. So deer feeders, basically, they just have a timed, a time that they're going to drop food, right, for deer to come eat. And so you put that on your deer lease, or, if your land has, if you've got some special, government approvals to hunt on your land. And then that way they keep coming back to the same place. So then when it is time for hunting, you know where the deer are going to be.
Simple, easy. I like it.
And too, most people have cameras on them and everything. So now they can actually say like, you know what, this one needs to stay. It's not big enough, or it's it just had a baby. Like they actually can kind of make some educated choices on what they're going to.
So you're saying they have a Ring doorbell on top of the deer feeder?
Yes.
Okay.
100% motion sensor. 100%. It's usually like up in the tree looking down.
Okay. Technology
So
is a wonderful thing.
It is. It's everywhere, even in deer hunting. So so we stood by the big pile of deer corn pallets and we had barbecue and it was fantastic. And then we went inside and like shopped and bought ridiculous things that had Buc-ee's beavers on them. It was great.
Of course.
And I was like, this is probably more memorable than all the expensive steak restaurants that I've taken most of these people to.
Fair. We definitely hit many a Buc-ee on our Channel Strong Tour excursions as we were driving through America, one city at a time every day. I thought I read somewhere that there's like the biggest Buc-ee that's ever going to ever be built is coming to Florida or something.
It is. It's coming to the Orlando area apparently, which will be impressive. Like they're saying that that's going to be the biggest one because like that one outside of Macon in Georgia is humongous.
There's like how many Disney or Universal drivers can you fill up at one time?
Yeah, a lot with clean bathrooms.
With a clean bathroom. Well, I would think there would I think I read there was like 170 car bays for fueling.
That's what I heard. Because the biggest one right now, I think, has 100.
So 170 car bays. That's one bathroom. I don't think works.
It would be interesting. I bet they're going to have a Buc-ee's big enough to have like 2 like bathroom bay areas. But that was like their whole thing. Like that was what put them on the map, was clean bathrooms. Do you not know the story?
I didn't. I didn't.
Okay, so it was like off of like I-10 outside of Austin, San Antonio area, somewhere out there. And they had this big Buc-ee's. It was actually right across the highway from a big Love's.
Okay.
But it is not a truck stop. So there's no big trucks that you have to contend with or anything. And all of the signs along the road were about, the clean bathrooms, the clean bathrooms. And you get there and like they are very, very, very clean. They were always clean. There was always someone in there cleaning them. And they have like extra wipes in there and all these extra things. And apparently one MSP, I was like, y'all have to go look at the bathrooms. Like, this is what put Buc-ee's on the map. And he came back out and he was like, there's like 50 urinals. It's insane. And like, they have all these like privacy things. And like, I was like, sounds great. And not exactly how the women's restroom is set up, but awesome.
Yeah.
But that is what put them on the map and like what is like one of their big standards. And then have you ever seen outside, they actually say how much they pay people? So I took a picture of it. I'll have to find it at some point, but their like general managers of their stores make like $190,000 to $220,000 a year.
Wow.
Our warehouse manager makes like $130,000 to $150,000 a year. They pay double for overnight. Every employee starts with 3 weeks of vacation. They have like 9% matching on their 401k. Like they actually have really, really good benefits. So when a Buc-ee's comes into an area, it's actually a big like boom for the economy because it's so many jobs. It's so many good paying jobs.
Interesting.
Yes. I have a lot of random Buc-ee's knowledge. I didn't realize I had so much.
Hey, yeah, everybody has to have something, right? Like this is Jeopardy knowledge right here. Yeah, I mean, so we'll have to wait for that Orlando one because I'm sure we'll all go and visit once it's online.
Yeah.
It's not like, I don't know, more than half the events that we're all going to are in Florida for some reason.
Hey, it's good for me.
Yeah, of course it's good for you. But
you were like, we're going to be in Florida and then Florida.
So between Texas and Florida, it was like 100 degrees.
It was cooler here in Tampa than it is in Texas. I'll tell you that.
It was definitely humid though. I was in Tampa not too long ago and I was like, dude, like I walked down the street and I was already like, I need like a towel. What's going on here?
But it keeps your skin so youthful. You're not all like dried and shriveled up.
Cynthia, you're wearing a sweatshirt.
Yeah, because my AC's on so high.
Oh, yeah.
I currently live in an older house that is not insulated as well as it should be. So what you have to do in an old house with bad insulation in the summer in Florida, and this would be true in other places too, is get it as cold as possible overnight. So like have it set at like 66, 68, and then just keep it there. Because in the afternoon, if you try to like crank it back down, it like will never. And even with this theory, it still can't keep up in the afternoon. Like my house just like lets off too much or brings in whatever, too much heat. So yes, I'm in a sweatshirt because right now it's cold, but in an hour or two, like the house will be kind of warm.
Florida problems?
And old house problems. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a bunch of stuff coming up.
Yes.
You got 10 events between now and I don't know, the end of August, you said.
Yes.
I know I think we're both going to be at Taylor Business Group Big.
I'm so excited. We have we have your boat ride that evening, which is lovely, like right there, like through the canals. You see all the big pretty houses and the sunsets. And then
big
early
houses, to be honest.
What?
Some of the houses are ridiculous, actually.
Oh yeah, super ridiculous. And then earlier that day, we actually have a pre-day event out on an airboat in the Everglades. So if you're going to be at Big, make sure you get registered for that. So we'll go out through the Everglades on the airboat and you get to like see alligators. And
I was just about to say Everglades, alligators. Isn't that where people disappear bodies and stuff? I don't know what's going on.
We will not be disappearing any bodies, George.
You just might see a foot floating by.
Oh my God, don't say that. No. The alligators would eat it. You don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
So we'll get to go through that. And then they also have they have some reptile, like a little reptile house on site. And we're going to have lunch and beers and all that. So it should be good.
Cool. So got a lot tied up in Taylor Business Group. I think you guys will be at Exchange in Nashville.
We sure will. Yep.
Everybody will. I mean, you have plenty of cowboy gear now from your Texas event.
I gave a lot of my cowboy gear away, so we'll have to see what we're gonna have there. But we did just create a new hot sauce. Yes, because automated password rotation, that's hot. So we've got some green jalapeno hot sauce
That's fun.
that you
That's good.
can't just have hot sauce. You got to tie it back to the product somehow.
I
George.
understand. I got it. It's clearly connected. I see it now.
So
and,
yeah.
and then we'll definitely see you at DattoCon in Miami.
You'll see me at DattoCon in Miami. We'll also be part of the party there. Next week we've got ChannelCon.
That's right, in Vegas. I will not be there myself, but you can get a little crispy on the strip with my buddy Alec.
I'm going to be on a panel there actually about creating super fans, so I'm excited about that. Super fans. Yeah. Super fans. I don't know if I have super fans, but I'm going to talk about it, I guess.
No, listen. I mean, you got all the tips from the Barbie movie. You're good to go. That's good. Got it. And then of course there's IT Nation to round out the year probably.
Yep, that's the big one that we end on, right? So we'll definitely be there. Got a big booth because I like a big booth and I cannot lie. So that'll be a lot of fun. Probably be involved with the IT Nation Gives project there again. That's always a great way to just start off that week and just, a good reminder that, we can still put good in the world, and it's nice to just rub shoulders with people while you're doing something like that. It's a great way to kind of just start your intentions for the week and just remember the good in people.
It's a long week.
Yeah, and we'll start with the Evolve groups there too. So makes it an extra long week.
It is a long week, but like for you just get in your car and drive over.
Actually, my new favorite thing to get to Orlando is to take an Uber.
Huh?
Yes.
You take an Uber from Tampa to Orlando?
I do, because I drive a big gas guzzling car, and I-4 is the worst stretch of highway in the world because no one knows how to drive on the highway on the freeway in Florida. Coming from Houston, I'm just used to some Texas laws of the road that not everyone else is used to, and I find myself very stressed out. And so if I take an Uber, I can either take an hour to myself to relax and be ready for everybody, or get some work done. And by the time I add in gas and mileage and how much it costs to park at any of these resorts that we stay at, honestly, it's a wash.
So what, $100, $150?
Yep.
But don't you usually have to bring stuff with you?
I've been reducing that.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm not hauling as much stuff with me typically.
I was gonna say, I was like the Uber triple XL, so I can put these 18 boxes in the back.
Yeah, no, I'm typically getting things just sent directly there. Trying to take myself out of the storage, although there literally is a box, a thing of boxes right here behind me, but most of them are empty because there's things I need to return. And there is, yeah.
Okay. All right. I assume the Uber guy that gets that drive is oh, this is great.
Well, and so I pre-schedule it. So for something that long, you need to have someone that's really willing to, make the drive. And, oh my God, I have to go.
Bye, Cynthia.
Okay, bye. I'll talk to you soon.
All good. All fun. All right, guys. For everybody else, the session was recorded, although it's just me and Cynthia just talking shop. You'll find it at mspinitiative.com under sessions. Stay tuned for all of our good stuff. If you didn't take a look at MSP Community Minds, mspcommunityminds.com. Definitely join us in Denver if you can make it out. We're super excited for it. We got the 3 block parties coming up. You can register for them ahead of time. It's absolutely 100% free. You can just go ahead and get yourself on the list ahead of time, so you don't have to remember to do it, when you're on site. And of course, everybody who does forget has to stand at the door, hopefully not in the rain, doing that. So feel free to pre-register for those, and we will catch you Tuesdays, Thursdays, 1 o'clock Eastern time, or 24 hours a day at mspinitiative.com. Thank you very much, everyone. See ya.